Rising prices, foreign investments, complex policies, it all contributes to a landscape where the dream of owning a home often feels out of reach. And though today we're focusing on the Canadian housing landscape, these issues and the solutions we're about to discuss echo across borders, affecting communities worldwide. Here at Future Unfolded, we believe in challenging the status quo, and that includes delving into alternative strategies for creating a more equitable housing market. So let's roll up our sleeves and dive into the innovative possibilities that could redefine the future of housing. Did you know that the average detached single-family home in Canada costs over $750,000? Yes, the bigger cities are certainly skewing that number, but at that price it could end up being a mortgage payment of over $4,000 per month. So to afford the average home in Canada, you'd likely need a family income of over $160,000 a year to qualify with the minimum down payment. The median household income in Canada is well under this number, meaning that the average Canadian family can't afford an average single-family home. Heck, the top 10% of earners bring in an estimated $175,000 a year, meaning they can barely afford to purchase an average detached single-family home in Canada. Were you able to buy a house where you live before the prices went crazy? Share your story in the comments below. So as we navigate this conversation, we will touch on housing first policies, the decommodification of housing, efforts to increase supply, and creating more transparency. When we discuss housing first, we're delving into an approach that puts a roof over people's heads as the first step towards addressing issues like homelessness and housing insecurity, instead of viewing housing as the end goal after solving other issues such as employment, mental health, or addiction. Housing First reverses the order. It posits that with stable housing, individuals are better positioned to address these challenges. In essence, Housing First sees housing as a foundational right, rather than a reward. Homeward Trust, for example, has housed nearly 13,000 people since 2009, with 85% of people remaining housed after 1 year in the program. Their homelessness intervention model has seen success rates twice the more traditional models of managing homelessness. On the other hand, decommodification of housing seeks to transform our perspective on housing from a market commodity to a basic necessity. It's a shift from viewing homes as assets primarily for investment and profits to seeing them as fundamental requirements for human life. We will continue to unpack different avenues for working towards achieving decommodification throughout this video, but it isn't something that can happen overnight. Countries like Sweden have attempted to move in this direction with various degrees of success, but failures of the past don't mean that something is impossible, but instead that we just haven't figured it out yet. And these changes won't manifest on their own. They require a clear and consistent commitment and political will. The policies that reflect these concepts must be pursued, promoted, and passed into law in partnership with different levels of government. It's only through a collective and purposeful effort that we can truly reimagine our housing landscape and make affordable housing a reality. One potential approach to addressing the housing challenges we face could involve the establishment of a non-profit crown corporation dedicated to constructing new homes. Crown corporations operating at arm's length from the government, yet state-owned, have a history of driving positive change in Canada. Take, for instance, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, known as the CBC. While some people are mixed on how successful it has been, it is hard to deny that it has played a significant role in developing Canadian media. Or Canada Post, ensuring communication and parcel delivery across our vast nation, and still one of the least expensive ways to ship a parcel of any reasonable size. These entities demonstrate how crown corporations can at least somewhat effectively serve public needs. So how might a similar model work for housing? Our suggestion would be to set a target for this corporation to be responsible for around 2% of all housing starts each quarter, equating to roughly 4,000 new units across Canada every 3 months. Maybe a longer-term objective could be for the corporation to build up to 5% or even 10% of all housing starts under $500,000 using today's values. Such an approach should not only increase the housing supply, but could do so with a particular focus on affordability. It could help to create a steady flow of cost-effective housing options, making home ownership or finding affordable rental units more accessible for many. As we envision a more equitable housing landscape, a crucial piece of the puzzle is the availability of affordable housing. However, making this a reality requires a significant investment, particularly in opportunities tied to income. What if we were to increase investment in rent geared to income housing? This is a model where tenants' rent is determined based on their income, typically capped at a certain percentage, making housing more accessible to those with lower incomes. Imagine if this investment were to take place in partnership with provinces, territories, and municipalities, particularly those regions experiencing higher than average rates of homelessness or precarious housing situations. This targeted approach could lead to transformative change where it's most needed. By channeling resources into such initiatives, we could create a significant impact, helping to secure stable, affordable housing for those who need it most. This kind of investment not only benefits those directly affected, but also contributes to the overall health and inclusivity of our communities. Another area ripe for improvement is the permitting process, which can often be a source of considerable delay and expense for developers and builders. Consider a world where we streamline this process, cutting down the time and costs associated with obtaining building permits. In some places, getting a building permit can take up to 2 years and potentially cost thousands, or in some cases, tens of thousands of dollars. What could an improvement in permits mean for the housing landscape? Faster construction times, reduced costs for builders, and potentially lower prices for buyers. Why not have a few set house plans people could purchase and have an efficient pass through the permitting process? By reducing bureaucratic hurdles, we can stimulate construction and increase in the housing supply, an important step in addressing housing shortages. It is essential to ensure that such changes don't compromise necessary oversight and safety measures. While we're on the topic of housing supply, let's discuss the phenomenon of short-term rentals. While services like Airbnb have revolutionized the way we travel, they've also stirred up some complex issues in the housing market. What if we were to regulate this industry a bit more tightly? What if we required Airbnb hosts or any other short-term housing providers to hold a proper business license and specific home insurance tailored to their unique business model? Implementing these requirements could help mitigate some of the risks and complications associated with turning residential properties into short-term rentals. It could also ensure that hosts are more accountable and that properties are better protected. And, if these rules aren't followed, owners could face fines for each infraction, giving them a strong incentive to adhere to these regulations. In the end, this change could help push out a certain percentage of operators that are in it just for the higher incomes typically earned on Airbnb, potentially increasing the rental supply slightly. While the suggestions we're discussing today cover a broad range of strategies, the subject of foreign investment in the housing market often captures public attention. Despite not likely being the most impactful change in our proposed suite of strategies, it holds emotional and societal importance for many. One potential approach could involve introducing a policy to tax foreign buyers at a rate of 25% on their property purchases, which is similar to what Ontario, Canada has done. And it's not just about potentially slowing foreign investment, it's also about directing these funds back into the community. The revenue generated by this policy change could be used to support low-income housing initiatives, further contributing to the availability of affordable homes. We could also consider temporarily restricting international purchases of non-recreational housing for a period of at least 5 years. This would mean foreign buyers could still invest in recreational properties, but the core housing market would be more accessible to local residents during this period. It's important to emphasize that these policies are not intended to shut out foreign investors, but aim to ensure a more balanced, equitable, and sustainable housing market for everyone. In our exploration of potential strategies to enhance the housing landscape, corporate property purchases emerge as another area ripe for review. More specifically, we're suggesting a closer look at the role of numbered corporations. But what exactly is a numbered corporation? In essence, it's a corporation that's identified by its government-assigned registration number rather than a traditional name. This practice is often used for privacy reasons or to expedite the incorporation process. In the context of property ownership, numbered corporations have been known to acquire residential units, sometimes in large volumes. While this is not inherently problematic, it can contribute to escalating property prices and reduced availability of affordable housing options for individuals and families. As such, a potential strategy could be to prohibit numbered corporations from purchasing residential properties or units. Again, not a singular solution to the issues we're seeing, but it could potentially help as part of an overall plan. Another policy change to consider involves adjusting the down payment requirements for property purchases. Traditionally, the down payment requirement to purchase a property in Canada is around 20%. However, this model may contribute to an overly aggressive market where investors quickly buy up properties, making it harder for first-time buyers and low-income individuals to find affordable homes. My proposed solution? Increase the down payment requirement for secondary property purchases to a minimum of 25%. For properties beyond the second, we could consider a requirement as high as 50%. These changes could potentially slow the rapid acquisition of properties by those already holding significant real estate, thus providing more opportunities for new entrants into the market. However, it's important to consider exemptions, such as recreational properties like cottages or three-season homes. After all, these properties often serve different purposes and operate in separate market dynamics compared to the primary and secondary residences. As we delve deeper into the strategies for reimagining our housing landscape, it's crucial to address the role of capital gains. This aspect of taxation has a significant impact on how real estate is used as an investment, and I believe it might be the most transformative change we are discussing today. To illustrate this, consider Jane. A savvy Canadian investor, Jane buys a property worth $500,000, not to live in, but to profit from its potential appreciation in value. When she eventually sells this non-owner occupied property 25 years later, it's now worth $2 million. And under current rules, only 50% of her profits, or around $750,000, are added to her income and are taxed appropriately. The other $750,000 in profit she gets is not subject to taxation, no matter her income or situation. But what if we change the rules of the game? What if for non-owner occupied houses purchased after the new law comes into effect, we increase the capital gains inclusion rate to 60%? And what if this inclusion rate were to increase for new purchases every few years? At what percentage point would it slow investor interest in real estate? The ripple effects of such changes could be profound. By adjusting how we tax profits from non-owner occupied home sales, we could discourage the use of real estate as a primary investment vehicle for retirement. In our journey through potential housing solutions, we need to take a fresh look at the tools designed to help people save for their homes, because it's harder than ever before. Narcity posted an article in December of 2022 referencing a report by Generation Squeeze, which mentioned that for young Canadians to save up for a 20% down payment, it would take 17 years, compared to only 5 years of savings for those looking to do the same thing less than 50 years ago. How long do you think it will take you to save up for your down payment? Let me know in the comments below. One of the savings vehicles that the government has provided is the First Home Savings Account. It's a tax-advantaged account designed to help first-time homebuyers save for a down payment, as the name suggests. The FHSA allows someone to save up to $40,000 maximum lifetime limit and withdraw from that account to buy a qualifying home as a tax-free withdrawal. I believe there's room to reimagine this instrument to broaden its scope and impact. Imagine if we transform the First Home Savings Account into a more inclusive home savings account. Instead of being limited to first-time homebuyers, this tax-free account could be available to anyone saving for a home, irrespective of their age or whether they've owned a home before. Moreover, consider the potential if we just adjust the cap on this account to reflect the realities of today's housing market. Instead of a fixed dollar amount, the limit could be 10% of the median household price, which would be approximately $75,000 today, providing a more meaningful and flexible savings target. This shift could help open a small door for many people for whom home ownership has seemed out of reach. Whether it's a young professional saving for their first home, a single parent looking to re-enter the property market after a life change, or an older citizen hoping to downsize, a revised home savings account could potentially make the dream of owning a home more achievable for a greater number of Canadians. In the quest for a healthier, more equitable housing market, transparency plays a crucial role. It empowers individuals to make informed decisions and promotes fair practices. However, our current system has areas where transparency could be significantly improved. Consider property sales and purchase data. Currently, it's not always easy for potential buyers to access information about a property's transaction history. Imagine if this data was readily available on a government website and real estate sales platforms. Buyers could see previous transactions, understand price trends, and make more informed decisions. In a similar vein, let's talk about the practice of blind bidding on properties. Currently, bidders often don't know what others are offering, leading to situations where they might offer more than necessary to secure a property due to fear of other offers. But what if all the offers were open to all those submitting a bid? This transparency could prevent potential buyers from being manipulated into overbidding and ensure a fairer process for everyone involved. Additionally, home inspections should be mandated as part of the home purchase process. Currently, these reports are often seen as optional and can even be used as a negotiation tactic. But consider the potential benefits if we required a home inspection report to be included with any residential real estate sales listing. This requirement could offer greater protection to potential buyers, allowing them to make fully informed decisions about their investment. By introducing these measures, we could help to foster a more transparent and fair property market where everyone, regardless of their experience or resources, can navigate the buying process with confidence and clarity. While we're talking about the real estate industry, we should also consider legally requiring real estate agents to act in the best interest of their signed clients, much like the fiduciary duties held by financial advisors. This change could help ensure that professionals in the real estate industry are held to high standards of integrity and client-focused service, as it often feels like there's a conflict of interest between the best solution for their client and closing another deal to get another commission payout. So while I'm not an expert in any of this, I hope, like me, you see that this isn't as simple as just pulling on one societal lever to fix all of our housing problems. Have you given any thought towards how the real estate market could improve? What changes would you make, and which country are you in? Let me know in the comments below, and if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more discussions about the future of housing.